Hello. We are going to be going into the next directional reading for Idaho, which is actually the last one of this round, and it is Southeast. This one is the longest out of all of them. Really quick, this is not a standalone reading. This is part of an energy investigation. There will be links in the description of this video that explain to you what I'm doing and how this list came to be. What this list is essentially a compilation of all my previous videos put into an outline form and then separate it into groups, and now we're trying to piece together what it means. So again, all of the links for that are in the description of this video. So we're doing something a little bit additionally different. I got this idea based off of the information that, or the evidence rather, that they got from Brian. So this direction was supposed to be the last reading, but I switched them because I wanted to do a shorter one first. And then it came out what they had collected from him, and specifically that they took a book and there was something outlined in that book. Bear with me for a minute here. So what I'm thinking is there's some reason that I didn't do this one last time and that I needed to hear about that book first. So today we are going to be using one of my favorite books, one of my favorite authors, 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. So essentially at certain points during this reading, I'm going to grab this book, I'm going to open to a random page, I'm going to point to something random, and I'm going to tell you what it is. Okay. Before embarking on any move, take the measure of your mark or potential opponent. Otherwise, you will waste time and make mistakes. Study people's weaknesses, the chinks in their armor, their areas of both pride and insecurity. Know their ins and outs before you even decide whether or not to deal with them. 2 final words of caution. First, in judging and measuring your opponent, never rely on your instincts. You will make the greatest mistakes of all if you rely on such inexact indicators. Nothing can substitute for gathering concrete knowledge. Study and spy on your opponent for however long it takes. This will pay off in the long run. Okay, so I guess this is gonna work. It's page 143. So this paragraph starts by saying the ability to measure people and to know who you're dealing with is the most important skill of all in gathering and conserving power. Without it, you are blind. Not only will you offend the wrong people, you will choose the wrong types to work on and will think you are flattering people when you are actually insulting them. So anyway, going to randomly pick up this book at certain points throughout this reading, just like they collected that book from Brian that had a specific outline or underline in it. I thought we could use the same method. I think that it just showed us that it's going to work. So, interesting. I also am feeling called to use my little tokens today. It's a dog with the number 31 on it. Dog survived. The number 13 was the date. All right. Okay. So let's start on this. Interesting. Something messed up the killer's original plans. What can we know about that? King of Pentacles reversed and the Chariot. The man who was supposed to be grounded in place, aka Ethan, aka he was supposed to be sleeping, aka not in his power, able to fight back. And what messed up the killer's original plans? This man was not moving forward to be grounded in position. He was late. Ethan was late, and that caused something of a delay for the killer. We keep getting that over and over and over. Something on one of the girls' cell phones will make police believe this was a crime of passion, which that was one of my first readings. So now we know that that's true. Knight of Pentacles reversed. So that would be about like Brian messaging them or reaching out to them, and then, sorry, my nose is so itchy. My allergies are still not great. That would be about Brian potentially reaching out to them and them not responding. It's also something on one of the girls' cell phones. It makes me feel like there is stuff on the cell phones. 9 of Cups reversed. Yeah, there's some kind of reaching out and not getting a response. There's some kind of... Oh, 9 of Cups. King of Swords. Is it possible there was some kind of like tracker on the girl's phone that... I don't know how they'd be able to tell that though. I guess maybe that would have to be on Brian's phone, like some kind of tracker, like tracking either their movements or tracking like maybe like a screen share of a phone, like what is the person saying? Like there's something like that. Like yeah, if you wanted to spy on someone and you somehow got access to see what they were doing on their phone or see where their phone's at, like there's some... It feels like more than just tracking their social media. Like it feels like something that someone should not have had access to, that they were using to track or trace something with the girls. That is either on the girl's phone or on Brian's phone. The killer felt a rejection from one of the females. The Magician. Online communication. I really think that he reached out. There's been like a Instagram, potentially it could have been Brian, maybe it wasn't Brian, I don't know which way, but it does feel like there's something, like if that's not what it is, there's something like that where he reached out and didn't get a response. The roommates knew this person, the killer. Queen of Wands. 5 of Cups. And 6 of Wands. Yeah. They knew him, all right. The 6 of Wands would be about like being out in public. So that would lead me to believe that if the surviving roommates were to see the killer out in public prior to this happening, they would know who that person is, which is Brian. But like, so before this happened, there was knowledge on the surviving roommates' behalf of who Brian is. They did not know who he was before this happened. The Queen of Wands is interesting because that was the one that was representing Bethany. Oh. Queen of Swords reversed. There's Dylan. And that one's in reverse. 3 of Wands reversed. A delay. Yeah, Dylan opening. Okay, so killer's delayed because of Ethan and Xana not going straight to the house. Then something that when Dylan opened that door, it created some unsolvable problem. I don't know if it just freaked the killer out. Excuse me. Maybe it just freaked him out that he didn't know who was opening the door. It was like a moment of panic and things went wrong because of it. But like the opening of that door caused if Dylan, how do I put this? If Dylan never would have opened that door, Brian wouldn't be in jail right now. I fully believe that. I think that the sheath came because of the mistake that happened due to Dylan opening the door. I think that if Dylan would not have opened that door, I do not feel as though Brian would be in prison right now. I don't. Eight of Swords reverse, freedom. Not being in jail. So it's big. Whatever happened because of that was big. All right, we're going to use the book. Okay, so we're on page 294, right there. It says, Fuche told the police that an ex-member of government could not be arrested on the street. They fell for the story and allowed him to return home. Later that day, though, they came to his house and once again declared him under arrest. Fuche, I don't know if I'm saying that right, nodded, but would the officers be so kind as to allow a gentleman to wash and change his clothes before leaving his house for the last time? They gave their permission. Fauci left the room and the minutes went by. Fauci did not return. Finally, the policeman went into the next room where they saw a ladder against an open window leading down to a garden below. Okay, I'm sorry. I gotta finish reading this to you because holy crap. The next day and the next, that day and the next, the police combed Paris for Fuche, but by then Napoleon's cannons were audible in the distance, and the king and all the king's men had to flee the city. As soon as Napoleon entered Paris, Fuche came out of hiding. Okay. Fuche came out hiding. Came out of hiding. I did the door. I said the door has something to do with the causing things to fall apart, and that just said came out of hiding. So if someone was in hiding, that would be behind the door, came out of hiding, opened the door, then fleeing the city. Everyone had to flee the city. Oh man. Three of Pentacles, the card that has represented the three people that were supposedly in the driveway that night. Flee the city. I gotta see if I should say what I'm thinking. Seven of Cups. Who else fled the city that night? Seems as though there's 3 people who fled the city that night. Or at least a part of that 3-person group fled the city that night. 4 of Wands reversed, leaving home, going somewhere else other than where you're originating from, fleeing the city. Okay. Someone is involved. This is really coming together. Someone is involved in helping who is unfulfilled with their own life, not living up to potential, arrogant in demeanor and mindset. What can we know about that person who's helping? 10 of Swords reversed. The Hermit. One other person, like, okay, so someone's helping the killer, but it's not like killer and then connects to 2 people that are working together helping. It's like killer connects one other person. That person has something to do with evidence, either evidence or cleanup. And it could be that that person is working with someone else to do this, but that second person isn't connected to Brian at all. It'd be Brian only connected to one person. And that one person may have had help to do this, but their help is not connected to Brian. And it's like cleanup or dispose of evidence. Something like that. This person will have like withdrawn, like pulled back. By this point, maybe not right away, but by this point, this person will have pulled back from their normal demeanor. Ethan and Xana say surviving roommates are not telling the whole truth. Ethan and Xana say a ball was dropped, which this was before we knew what exactly that ball was, but now we know that it, Ace of Swords and Page of Swords reversed. Page of Swords reversed is talking about it and not doing it, or realizing something and not doing something about it. And then we have the Ace of Swords, which is making me feel like this is also referring to how the killer got into the house. Because the Ace of Swords would be a breakthrough, and the sword here would be representing the literal knife. So how did the knife get inside the house? It has something to do with the roommates who saw something and didn't do something about it. Something happening around closing time that night, referring to when they were out at the bar. 6 of Pentacles reversed, the one-sided debt. Telling you somebody was keeping tabs on them and passing the information. Death in reverse. 5 of Swords in reverse. So 5 of Swords in reverse is about cutting loose the threat, which in this case, the threat would be the people that knew something and were talking about it. Death in reverse would make me feel like how I said that the ex likely told the girls, hey, don't talk about that, and they did it anyway. This would make me feel like there was multiple people in multiple different times, like maybe sending warnings, like don't say this, don't talk about this, don't do that. And it just wasn't, well, then they did talk about it, and it was like all of those warnings seemed to have been ignored. And there was a one-sided debt. So it's feeling like somebody that the girls talked to about something purposely turned them in to those who were waiting to see if someone would talk. Like, oh, keep an eye on those girls. If they talk, you better let me know. And then they did, and then somebody let them know. Adam spoke to someone else about the convo he had with Maddie that night, and that info was then passed on to others. That's what we were just saying. King of Wands reversed. Yeah, it's like whoever that was passing on this information, it wasn't necessarily that they had anything out for the girls. It was that they had to get themselves paid up on some kind of debt that they owed. The Fool in reverse and 4 of Pentacles in reverse. It almost seems like maybe a situation where someone was fronted some kind of product, fronted, dispersed, didn't get the money to give back to the source yet, and something happened where they weren't, like, it's almost like if somebody took product from someone and then disappeared, or oh 7 of Swords reversed. Is it possible that this would be like one of the people who passed away suspiciously in that area, if that person owed someone else money, but then they had passed away, so it's obvious that that person is not getting the money from that person, and that person now owes a debt that can't otherwise be paid because that person had passed away. I don't know which person it is, though. But essentially, a suspicious death in that area. That person may have owed money to the, we'll call them the tattletale, okay? The person that was keeping tabs on the girls that night, that I believe was at the bar. So this would be like if the tattletale owes money to someone who had fronted them something, but they have no way to get that money back because that other person has passed away, or they don't have to pass away, but like some reason that they would not give the money to this person so that they could give it to the source. So to make up for that, it's like, okay, well, you just have to do this. Tell us about the girls. Tell us when they leave. Tell us something. And that will clear your debt for this. Huh. Because the 7 of Swords reverse would be about like a guilty conscience. Also like getting caught up in something. So like, yeah, like it, for some reason I'm feeling strongly like it connects to someone who had a suspicious death. I'm hearing use the book, use the book, use the book. Let's use the book. Andrew Johnson, Abraham Lincoln's successor as U.S. president, saw Ulysses S. Grant as a troublesome member of his government. So he isolated Grant as a prelude to forcing him out. This only enraged the great general, however, who responded by forming a support base in the Republican Party and going on to become the next president. It would have been far wiser to keep a man like Grant in the fold where he could do less harm than to make him revengeful. And so you may often find it better to keep people on your side where you can watch them. than to risk creating an angry enemy. Keeping them close, you can secretly whittle away at their support base so that when the time comes to cut them loose, they will fall fast and hard without knowing what hit them. Holy crap. It's page 366. Law 43 wasn't the first one on page 143, and now we have 43, so it's 143 minus the 1. Anyway, killer has a connection to drugs. This was before Brian was arrested, so judgment in reverse. So it's like a recurring should have known better, or like a cycle that keeps repeating because it's like an unfinished lesson. So he, King of Cups reversed. Yeah, it's like he should have known how that lifestyle affects him personally in terms of mental health or whatever, but he kept going back to it for comfort, knowing that it was going to harm him, knowing that it was going to make him shut off to feelings, knowing it was going to make him selfish and withdrawn and anxious and all of that. There is some kind of operation that other people are connected to. That's why there's so much protection. Two of Swords reversed and Justice. The only way to get justice is to bring an end to this organization, or at least the power that they have over this particular case. It's about, are we going to continue to ignore the elephant in the room, or are we going to address that this is bigger than just a person randomly going in and murdering 4 people? Female involved who has something big to potentially lose. 7 of Pentacles and 8 of Wands. She can lose her entire career and everything that she worked for if anyone opens their mouth and talks. And anyone who potentially would open their mouth and talk, she takes immediate action to make sure that that doesn't happen. There's a plan in place. There is a very deeply seated plan in place that is being carried out. Something from childhood made him, as in the killer, feel like he had no choice but to make himself proud in some way. Knight of Wands reversed. So constantly feeling like he's playing catch up, or like constantly feeling like it's just out of his reach. Like, oh, I'm almost there, and then it doesn't happen. This also contributed to his temper. The element of feeling like it's constantly out of his reach, the element of feeling like he just can't quite grasp what it is he's meant to be grasping is directly correlated to the temper. The lack of self-control, the Hierophant in reverse, his beliefs. His beliefs play a big part here too. So beliefs, like in terms of like mindset, like functioning of the mind, temper, and ability to make logical decisions, all of that is stemming from childhood and feeling like it was just beyond his reach. He was never doing enough. He was never achieving enough. He was never seen or heard or validated enough in his mind. And that is where the temper and the decision making and the mindset comes from. This will be a trial like you've never seen before. Brian has something big up his sleeve involving someone else. Brian is going to try and get someone else to take the fall for this. What can we know about that? The devil. He's going to try and get the person who is pulling the strings to go down for his action. The person who's lurking in the shadows. Knight of Swords. Fast thinking. It's like waiting for that perfect moment. I said this in a couple other readings, like the example I gave where it's like a brick wall and there's a small little section of glass, and if he throws the rock at the exact right time, it'll break the glass and he'll get free. His plan is to take down the link in like a blindside moment when he sees the exact right moment present itself. And again, if he throws that rock and it hits the brick, no more rock, the chance is gone forever, wasted. If he hits that glass, he can climb out of that window. And this is something that he's planning using his knowledge of how the justice system works. So above and beyond just being like, oh, I have this that I can use, I'm going to try and use that as a random time. It's like there's a plan because he knows what to expect in trial because of his knowledge. He knows what to look for in terms of when that perfect moment would be presented. He's not guessing, he's using intellect, which is scary. Because the Knight of Swords is also like a perfectionist energy. So he has a plan that if played right, and again, he's not going to know when right is. It's not like there's going to be like someone who walks in the room and is like, all right, do it now. Like, he has to realize it and act on it in the right moment. But if he does, wouldn't be good. He ran into someone or talked to someone while he had the knife on him prior to the murders. Four of Swords reversed would be about getting ready to do what he was going to do. So it would be when he had the knife on him with the intention of what he was going to do with it. So not just when he happened to be carrying it around. Nine of Wands. This is like the final push before getting to something. So he interacted with someone else, like in person, face to face. I'm hearing 12. Within 12 minutes of going into that house. Or within 12 minutes of the attack starting, which could imply maybe running into someone in the house. The Emperor reverse and 3 of Cups. I almost feel like the timeline issue that we got before I always feel like Dylan either saw him more than once or only saw him earlier than what she said. I feel like she saw him before he murdered anyone. And that's why there was no blood. But that she saw, or at least that she said she saw. And that's also why her story doesn't really make sense, because she had to switch it to making it seem like she saw him when he was leaving so that it could fit that she was scared. But if she saw him when he was coming in, got the Emperor reversed and the Three of Cups. I don't know if she saw him twice and just isn't talking about the first time, or if she only saw him earlier than what she did. Like, before he committed any murders. There's something off there. And again, it could be that she opened the door the first time, saw him, and then closed it, and then opened it later and saw him again. It could be that, but it's not feeling like that. It's feeling like she saw him earlier and then changed the story to be like, oh, well, if there was a stranger in my house, I wouldn't just let him walk around. Like, all right, let's keep going. There's 3 people involved in the aftermath / planning of defense. The Empress reversed. 10 of Pentacles. That's the family connection, and this would be the lawyer. The lawyer. There's some kind of family connection that brought this situation to this particular woman being the lawyer. Overcommitment. Going above and beyond. Really trying to hit a home run on the case. Making sure that all angles and avenues are covered. Family connection. Somehow, a connection of the family got this woman to be his lawyer for some reason that will benefit Brian. I don't know what the reason is. I'm not saying that she's doing anything illegal. I'm just saying that behind the scenes in the field of energy, this woman became his lawyer because of something that was initiated through a family connection. Police found a hole in the timeline that connects Brian. Timeline issue has something to do with greed. Timeline issue has something to do with greed. Page of Wands. That's not good. Dylan's testimony is not going to be credible because she was on drugs and the police know it. She was on some kind of, allegedly, my opinion, she was on some kind of psychedelic that took her out of the mindset of reality, and the police know it. I wonder if that bomb to be dropped could have anything to do with maybe Brian knowing that she was impaired, but he can't just use that. But if he uses it in the right way, oh man. All right. Brian did something extra thinking he could get away with it, but it will help get him caught. Ace of Wands reversed, a rejection. Yeah, it's got to be some kind of communication, reaching out to the girls or something like that. Queen of Cups. Yeah, the one that he had interest in. It's like there's all of this underlying stuff going on, but then in the midst of that, he also became interested in one of the girls. Oh, I wonder if that's why he became a liability to the organization. Oh my gosh. Okay, hear me out, right? So, hold on. Let me see if I should say this. 8 of Pentacles. Okay. Brian's meant to be following these girls around, intimidating them so that the girls know that they're being watched and so that they should not talk. He's the intimidator. The stalker that's supposed to be just enough amount of obvious so that you know that there's someone watching you. So then someone's keeping an eye on Brian, making sure he's doing his job. But then after these murders happen, there's someone on the inside that is passing along information to the link. This person passes along information that makes it seem like Brian was trying to have a romantic connection with one of these girls, which would mean that this organization can no longer trust him because his job was to intimidate and you're trying to be nice. Because of that, all of a sudden we discover this sheath that's left behind because Brian can't be trusted. And that is only known because someone behind the scenes is passing along information to someone who has a role in this, the link. Someone who would be involved in investigation behind the scenes. If you know what I mean. I feel like we need to use the book. Do not commit to anyone. It is the fool who always rushes to take sides. Do not commit to any side or cause but yourself. By maintaining your independence, you become the master of others, playing people against one another, making them pursue you. Page 145. Okay. Making them pursue you. Okay. If you're following along with this paper, I really feel like your jaw probably just dropped too when you read the next line. Dylan was not in shock. She was under the influence of what I believe is MOLLY, which is why her emotions don't match her actions. Ace of Cups reversed. Not feeling the appropriate emotions for the given situation. Blocked emotions. Blocked, a blocked emotional perspective of the reality that she was experiencing. That's a huge comment. And it's also, this card is representing the Holy Grail. So, you know, that would represent the substance that I believe she was on, my opinion, allegedly. Brian is protected in some way by someone with power or authority or connected to criminal justice system. 5 of Wands reversed and High Priestess reversed. Someone that's trying to make certain pieces of this case not come to light. or at least not be focused on in the public eye. Someone who is trying to disconnect what happened to what happened behind the scenes. Someone with hidden motives, like their own personal motives for keeping certain things hush-hush. Five of Wands reverse is making me feel like there's some kind of agreement in place between different parties that have something to do with this case, such as maybe someone that works in the police department and maybe someone who works for the link or is the link. Seems like there's some kind of agreement of a plan that requires cooperation from multiple people to make the plan work. And whatever is going on is meant to contribute to reasonable doubt. Two opposing forces working together toward a goal, but didn't know they were working together, made killing be able to happen. Eight of Cups reversed, not learning a lesson. And also like fear of not doing what you're supposed to be doing. Like you have this part of the plan. Do not divert from that or something bad is going to happen. Page of Pentacles reversed. Two opposing forces working together towards a goal. It's almost like two opposing forces working together right now is essentially them like trimming the fat. Like anyone who can't fully be trusted, these two opposing forces working together, the two opposing forces working together right now are making sure that people don't talk or that people are taken care of so they can't talk. So, the defense team was not in agreement on whether or not to use something about Brian's childhood in his defense. The moon, something that we don't know about yet. There's something additional, which would make sense because if they weren't sure or they weren't in agreement with one another or whether or not to use it, it's something that they didn't divulge yet. 10 of Cups reversed, family trouble. And the World. Why do I feel like they're going to paint a really bad picture of his mom? Said somebody, they're going to paint an untruly, like whatever they say about a family member, it's not going to be true. It's a lie. It's like an exaggeration of something. The World would be like a sense of belonging, feeling like you are welcome somewhere. And the 10 of Cups would be about the family. And then the moon would be something that we're not seeing yet or we don't know about yet. So there's something that the defense is debating. Should we use this or should we not? Because it's going to purposely paint a family member of Brian's in a very bad light that is exaggerated from the reality of the situation. So like if the reality is from a 1 to 10, the reality is like a 3. They're going to make it look like it was like a 30. Brian is relying on reasonable doubt to get him out of this. Six of Cups reversed. Childhood. Reasonable doubt. Reasonable doubt. Didn't. Six of Swords reversed. Didn't one of Brian's sisters live near him or something? Like, is it possible that Brian would try and say that someone wanted to get to his sister, so they set him up for this? Like, it's something weird like that. It's not something that's gonna work, but it's something that's gonna, like, I don't know. It's like a Hail Mary type of thing. Like, oh, let me throw this up and hope somebody catches it. It's about one of his sisters. Wheel of Fortune and the Five of Pentacles. Yeah. Is it possible Brian would say something like, my sister owes money to this person, so they framed me? Like, I don't... Maybe his dad. Maybe he'll try and say his dad owes money to somebody. I don't know. It's something to try and poke a hole in reasonable doubt that has something to do with throwing his own family member under the bus. I'm going to collect the cards. Hold on. Okay. A team of 2 people went in to clear King Road of drugs or something before police were called. Five of Pentacles and Wheel of Fortune. Those are the 2 cards that just came out. Yeah, it would be like something that made them fear losing money. So that could be information and or drugs. It would be like getting something out of the house so they don't lose out on the money that could come from it. Or not destroy the opportunity to make money from some kind of information. My desk is a mess. There we go. Okay. And then the Wheel of Fortune. Hold on. The 8 of Wands. It's like this is something that's been done before. And I said that in a previous reading. It feels like somebody who knew what they were doing went in and did this. And that's what I'm feeling here. Like this was... Not that somebody was waiting for this to happen, but like somebody that when they get that phone call, they know what to do. Like, okay, something happened, go clean it up. And then they just know what to do. Like no questions asked type of thing. Investigation. Investigation is slowly realizing about the accomplice. 2 of Cups reversed. Yeah, that's like Brian being cut out of the organization. 7 of Swords reverse, getting caught, and the Fool reverse, being careless. Because of some kind of separation, Brian was caught because he was careless about something. Or made some kind of mistake, or was not prepared for some kind of shift in the plan. Like the plan changed a little. He had to adapt, but didn't adapt the right way in terms of like what other people feel like he should have done. I'm telling you, the original plan was not 4 people, it was 2. The delay of calling police was due to a masculine energy telling Dylan what to do or giving instructions. 6 of Cups. Both Dylan and Bethany. The Magician in reverse, manipulation. It's like Dylan was manipulated and then passed that on to Bethany, but there was one source willfully, knowingly manipulating them about when to call police or what to say when they called. Like, all of that was scripted from this male energy. 4 of Pentacles reverse. They were given something. Money, power, an opportunity, something. Connections. This says to me that both of the surviving roommates were manipulated by the same source, and they were given something to go along with that source's plan. And that has something to do with when police were called and what was said when they were called. Someone else will eventually be arrested for their role in this. 3 of Cups. Page of Wands and the Sun reversed. Huh. Someone else will eventually be arrested. Well, the 3 of Cups would be a collaboration. And then the Page of Wands makes me feel like it's someone... Like, it's not someone that gets turned on. It's someone that the investigators discover something about that person on their own. So it's not someone turning in... It's not someone turning in this person. And the Sun reverse makes me feel like this charge won't stick. Like, almost like someone will be arrested and then released. Like, arrested, interrogated, no information comes of it, and then they're released. But, like, I don't know if it's to put pressure on them, or I don't... Ace of Swords. Yeah. That would be a breakthrough of, like, truth. Oh, someone gets arrested and they do have information and there's some kind of deal made. That's what it is. There's a deal made. Someone's arrested and then takes a deal to talk. I wonder if that already happened and we're just being told otherwise. I guess it doesn't have to be arrest. It could just be someone who's questioned and then realizes, okay, I'm backed into a corner, I need to say something, and then makes a deal. Like, I'm going to tell you this information so I don't get arrested. Something like that. Brent's name is going to be drug through the mud in some way. Something to do with the knife and trying for reasonable doubt. The Lovers in reverse. Ace of Pentacles in reverse. A missed opportunity. Yeah, it's like someone... The Ace of Pentacles in reverse. I really strongly feel like Brent knew that he was being attempted to be framed for this. Because the Ace of Pentacles would be about taking back an offer. Like, okay, never mind. So, like, hey... It almost feels like somebody approached Brent like, hey, can you go down for this and then we'll get you out of it. We'll prove your innocence, but like, can you go down for it for like a minute? And then he was like, what? No. Which previously I had a vision of him, Brent, sitting on a stool and two people in front of him talking at him, like trying to intimidate him. That would fit. So Brent is approached by people who say, hey, we need someone to go down for this, but we have the ability to get you out of it. You just need to go down for a minute and then you'll be made to look like a hero or something like that. And Brent saw through their plan and was like, no, I'm not doing that. And then they took the offer back. Okay, well, now you know too much. Bethany went back and forth in her mind about something. She was confused or misled. Page of Pentacles reverse. The lack of progress. So that's about not calling the police. And then Five of Wands reverse is avoiding conflict. Okay, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm just going to do what you're telling me that I have to do. Went back and forth in her mind about something, was confused or misled. Didn't want to create a problem where there didn't need to be one because she realized that, okay, doesn't really matter what I say because they're going to get their way. And then this card would be about procrastination, so not calling police right away. All right, we're on the back of the paper. Maddie and Kaylee were involved in some kind of conflict, competition, argument, oppression, aggression, and or tension around the time of death. The Devil and the Four of Cups. Re-evaluating a toxic environment. Re-evaluating a scary situation. Thinking, okay, how can I oh my God. Is it possible someone asked Adam to talk to the girls instead of the girls talking to Adam? Like, hey, ask them this, see what they say. See if they say too much. Could have been that way instead. Instead of like, oh, they'll be drinking, they may be a little bit more talkative than they would be otherwise. Ask her about this, see what she says. Set up a meeting with me and her so we can talk about it. And then Maddie tells Adam everything, which is more than what she was supposed to, but this conversation was expected because it was Adam checking on them, not them voicing something to Adam. That makes a lot more sense. Actually, we're gonna try the book, see what we get from the book. Page 262. On the other hand, by limiting other people's options, you sometimes limit your own. There are situations in which it is to your advantage to allow your rivals a large degree of freedom. As you watch them operate, you give yourself rich opportunities to spy, gather information, and plan your deceptions. The 19th century banker James Rothschild liked this method. He felt that if he tried to control his opponent's movements, he lost the chance to observe their strategy and plan a more effective course. The more freedom he allowed them in the short term, the more forcefully he could act against them in the long run. I'm going to read you the first paragraph here as well. Controlling that, so like this is the one that I just read right here, but now I'm going back up and reading this because you'll see why. Controlling the options has one main controlling the options. It was Adam reaching out to Maddie, not Maddie reaching out to Adam. Controlling the options has one main purpose: to disguise yourself as the agent of power and punishment. The tactic works best then for those whose power is fragile, like when someone's not really in their right mind because they're drunk, and who cannot operate too openly without, I lost my place, without incurring suspicion, resentment, and anger. So it said, the tactic works best then for those whose power is fragile and who cannot operate too openly without incurring suspicion, resentment, and anger. That tells me there was a meeting attempted to be set up between Maddie and someone else, but that person couldn't be the one to directly set up the meeting. They had to use a middleman, Adam. Did he know what he was setting up? No, but he had to ask the girls about something to see what their response would be. Maddie was drunk and told him way more than what... It's like a test, like say this, sorry, there's someone in my driveway, like say this to her, or see what she says, see what you can get back, like even as a general rule, however, it is rarely wise to be seen as exerting power directly and forcefully, no matter how secure or strong you are. It is usually more elegant and more effective to give people the illusion of choice. Holy crap. I'm trying to open it so you can pause it and read it if you want. Again, that's page 262. Okay. The girls confided to an ex-boyfriend about something, and he told them not to talk about it. Links to convo with Adam. The star. It means we're talking about the same thing that he was talking about. 3 of Wands reversed. Don't do it yet. You need to make a plan to do this a wise way. Do not talk about it yet. The star would also be like bringing something to the attention of the public. Oh my gosh. King of Cups. 4 of Wands reversed. Oh no. That's why everyone's being quiet. It was set up so that people close to them would feel guilty about their part in it without realizing they were playing a part in it. It's known that someone is going to try and talk to the girls to see what they say, but nobody can give them a heads up about it because then they'd get in trouble. So the ex casually brings up something about it, or the girls bring up something about it, and he's like, no, don't talk about that, knowing that Adam is meant to ask them about it because they were roommates, the ex and Adam. So he knows that Adam is going to kind of have to lure them into this potential trap. but can't say that to the girl. So he's like, don't say anything about that. Shh. But can't tell him why. Then Adam says something about it. Maddie's drunk and she answers this question thinking that Adam just cares, when in reality, he's doing this to report back because he owes a debt. King of Cups would be the emotional attachment that the ex has. Four of Cups reversed would be about him leaving after this conversation. Like, oh man, I hope you don't talk about it, but I gotta get out of here. But I don't think that the ex or Adam knew that there would even be a plan coming from this. Like, I think that they believed that their role just was to gather that information and pass it along. I don't think it was, okay, once we get this information, if it's bad, I'm going to go kill him. That wasn't it. It was just like, you're rolling this, ask them about this and see what they say. And report back to me. No big deal. That's it. That's all you got to do. Not knowing that that would put in motion turning that intimidator person that was stalking them into a killer. Hangman in reverse. Yeah, like I am not going to sacrifice everything that I worked for because these girls are going around talking. The kids on campus knew before police did that the murders happened. Strength in reverse, the Emperor in reverse, and Knight of Cups. There was a lot of control going into how this information was released. I do think that this was a plan that was switched around last minute in terms of going from roughing someone up to taking it further than that. The Knight of Cups is like a middleman card, like a negotiator card. Yeah, I honestly see Adam being told to ask the girls about something to see how they would answer or what they would say. Maddie being drunk, being like, oh, this person's asking about it. They care. When in reality, it was them passing information on to someone else about what the answer to the question would be from the girls to see if they would say too much or not. $314. The first step in using symbols and images is to understand the primacy of sight among the senses. Before the Renaissance, it had been argued sight and the other senses, taste, touch, and so on, operated on a relatively equal plane. Since then, however, the visual has come to dominate the others and is the sense we depend on and trust. As Gracian said, the truth is generally seen, rarely heard. Right there. Okay. Whatever was said to Adam was about an operation and not anything to do with a breakup. Two of Swords reverse, coming to a conclusion, having to make some kind of decision that you can't go back from. The Eight of Cups reversed. And Nine of Swords. It's like, I bet you if we found out exactly more about this operation, there will have been someone in the past that committed a crime and tried to tie it back to this organization. And they weren't letting that happen again. or there was someone that didn't commit a crime but turned on this organization in some way. Someone's in witness protection. Someone from the past that has been out of town before these murders even happened. Someone flipped on this organization and is in witness protection. And the people in the organization know that because they have someone on the payroll that is an officer, allegedly, my opinion. Maybe not an officer, but behind the scenes, an investigator, officer, something. There's at least one bad egg that's connected to this organization. The organization knows that someone is in hiding, but can't do anything about it, because then that would sever the connection that they have to the officer or whoever, because it would show that someone was leaking information that otherwise couldn't have been known. So there's someone in witness protection. Nine of Cups. I bet you it's about Hannah. I bet you it's about Hannah. Someone said something about Hannah's death, got moved to witness protection. But that person is still a liability that the organization cannot get to, because it would sever their connection to someone behind the scenes. But they didn't want another person to be able to go into witness protection. Maddie and Kaylee wait until the end of the year. If they would have said to Adam, I'm waiting till the end of the year to say this, that could be made to look like, oh, they'll say something and then go into witness protection like the last person, and we can't get to them. Huh. I'm gonna pull a token. I don't know why, just feeling called to. Rain coming out of a cloud. It's making me think weather, like weather's not able to be controlled, but like there's talk about, is the government controlling weather, or is there weather control? It's like this situation doesn't look like it's being controlled, but parts of it are, if that makes sense. And it's also making me think like rain is like a bunch of different little water droplets all separate. You can't contain the water once it spills out. It just goes everywhere. So like it has to be stopped before it starts raining, or this water can go everywhere. Water is representing information that the girls had. Red-headed male involved. 10 of Wands. The Empress reversed. Somebody who has an obligation or a duty to the link. It has to be either the link or someone who works on, it's not the link directly, but it's someone that works under the link. So the link has someone that works under her. That person is owed loyalty by a red-headed male. Someone turned on Brian and he thinks it was the link, but it was someone under her. Knight of Wands and the World. A temper and the ending of a cycle. So someone turned on Brian. Brian thinks it was the link, but it was actually someone under her. That person has a bad temper. That person wanted to end Brian's involvement in this organization. It's like cutting him out of the picture. The driver. It's the driver. The ex-boyfriend knows more than he's saying, but is not involved. I cannot believe that that's the last one that's coming up. The ex-boyfriend knows more than he's saying, but is not involved. That's what I was just describing. Three of Pentacles. There's a connection between the ex-boyfriend and the three people that were seen in the driveway. Justice in reverse. The ex-boyfriend has some kind of information about the three people that were seen in the driveway that night. And if he were to come forward with this information, it would make it so that no matter what Brian pulls out of his hat, the right person would go down for this. Without this information, there's still a chance that it doesn't go that way. I'm not saying it won't, but I'm saying that there is information being sat on that would be very helpful to this case. What is that information? The High Priestess reverse and Nine of Pentacles reverse. Something to knock the link off of her throne. Something to make the unseen seen and show you who's pulling the strings. A money trail that leads directly back to the link. That could be formed, that money trail could be formed through whatever information the ex-boyfriend has about the three people that were seen in the driveway that night. And that is making it so justice is still up in the air and not solid. I almost feel like right now, what they have bringing it to court, I feel like it's going to be solid. But again, there is that potential. If he throws the rock at the exact right time, it can hit that small glass window in that long brick wall and he can climb on out. Okay. That's the end of this paper. That's actually the end of all of the directional papers. So essentially now, I've had Brooke, my assistant, go through all of the readings that I've done about these and make more outlines of those readings. So I'm going to basically do this again with the more developed information that we've gotten through these readings. You know what? I'm going to use the book. I was going to use cards. I'm going to use the book. So I'm going to open to 4 random spots and read exactly 2 lines. No more, no less. 2 lines. So let's start with Ethan. Page 378. You look deep into the souls of other people, fathom their inmost desires, their values, their tastes, their spirit, and you reflect it back to them, making yourself into a kind of mirror image. Your ability to reflect their psyche gives you great power over them. They may even feel a tinge of love. Dylan. It's talking about Dylan. It's talking about Dylan mirroring in the house what the person she had as an emotional connection to is doing out of the house. And showing the world what she thinks they should see. Xana. Page 342. Whenever Lorenzo faced an enemy, he would wield the weapon of patronage. When Pisa, Florence's traditional enemy, threatened to rebel against it in 1472, Lorenzo placated its people by pouring money. Lorenzo placated its people by pouring money into its university, which had once been its pride and joy, but had long ago lost its luster. When Lorenzo faced an enemy, he would wield the weapon of patronage. When Pisa, Florence's traditional enemy, threatened to rebel against it, Lorenzo placated its people by pouring money into its university, which had once been its pride and joy, but had long ago lost its luster. We're going to let that one speak for itself. Kaylee. Oh my gosh, what are the chances I open to the same page? Whenever Lorenzo faced an enemy, and I pointed to the same part too. They just wanted to hammer that part home. Whenever Lorenzo faced an enemy, he would wield the weapon of patronage. When Pisa, Florence's traditional enemy, threatened to rebel against it, Lorenzo placated its people by pouring money into its university, which had once been its pride and joy, but had long ago lost its luster. Maddie. Plan all the way to the end. So she's the last one out of the four that I'm pulling a passage from the book from. Plan all the way to the end. This was the last directional reading. Planned all the way to the end. The ending is everything. Plan all the way to it, taking into account all the possible consequences, obstacles, and twists of fortune that might reverse your hard work and give the glory to others. By planning to the end, you will not be overwhelmed by circumstances, and you will know when to stop. Gently guide fortune and help determine the future by thinking far ahead. Okay. Yeah, so the next reading for this case will be, these are, I haven't really looked at them yet, but I imagine that they're probably shorter than this because the readings are more of like accumulating information that we already have, or like narrowing it down. So I'm going to try and do at least 2 at a time, like north and south and then east and west. But that will be next. And then after we narrow all that down, then I will go into viewers' questions again. Yeah, that's it for now. Bye, guys.